How do I use generative AI detect and translate into my UiPath automations? That is what we are going to see in this video. Hi everyone, welcome back to the next video in the generative AI package series of UiPath, in which we are trying to understand the generative AI pack with the help of building some small use cases, right? So my name is Mukeshkala. I am a 4 times UiPath MVP and a LinkedIn top voice. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. Also, you can scan the QR and join our WhatsApp community as well. And before getting started, in case you are coming to the channel for the first time and haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the next videos in the same playlist. Having said that, let's get started. This would be the approach which we are going to take in these activities. First of all, we are going to understand what exactly is the activity. That would be a theoretical part. Then we are going to define a small use case, which would be a pretty basic one. And then that use case we are going to develop in a step-by-step manner by using the GenAI activities along with RPA. Right? I have a request to you guys. Just please open your UiPath Studio and follow along to get a better understanding of these activities. Okay. Before this video, we have already completed all of these videos which you see on the screen. Please find the complete playlist link in the description for your reference. So today the first activity which we are going to see is the translate activity. Before directly jumping into the hands-on, let's try to have a quick background of the activity. We'll discuss a use case and then we'll try to build the same into UiPath Studio. Okay, so what does the translate activity actually do? So the translate takes text as an input and it is able to convert the language of the text into the respective language, again with the help of generative AI. Now if I talk specifically about the configuration, so if you are following this tutorial from the beginning, the series, you would understand that we are going to use the integration services for that, and that's why we need a connection ID. The other two inputs are absolutely simple. You just need to provide the text which you want to actually translate, which would be a string, and the second thing is you need to provide the language input. Right? So if I am not using these activities, then I would have to write a different set of automation. I would have to invoke API. I have to use a third-party thing, right? But all of this is now embedded inside these activities, and as an output you directly get something which is the translated text. Right? It's pretty simple, straight away activity. The name of the activity is translate. This is what we are going to utilize. Okay. The second activity which we are going to utilize in today's use case would be the detect language, right? So I hope you guys would have understand that what is detect language. So this allows us to detect the language of the text. So for example, if I have given a text which is in English, French, Japanese, it would be able to understand, and it will also give me a confidence score that how confident it is by identifying that language. This confidence score is an integer, as we already know that whenever we are working with ML or the AI, we get something which is called the confidence score. So this model or this activity, we just have to provide the text. What is the text, and it will identify the text, which language it is actually going to detect, and then it is going to respond you by that. If I talk about the configuration, it has same the connection ID, it has the text, and when you specifically see the properties, you have some additional properties as well, which we are going to discuss. And in terms of output, you would get two things here. The first thing is the detected language, and the other thing is the confidence score. And that's it, right? So these two are the activities which we are going to use in today's use case. The first one is the detect and the second one is the translate. Okay. So the use case today which we are going to do with this activity is called the multilingual customer support ticket management, right? The whole idea here is that I have a global e-commerce company which is receiving a lot of inquiries, right? So these inquiries are coming via email, web forms, and they have a lot of customers across, let's say, 50, 60, 100 countries which they are taking care of. Now, Since it is a global e-commerce company and they have customer widely spread across the globe, what is the problem? The problem is the language barriers. Customer inquiries coming in different language and the support team has to be understanding all those languages. Second reason, manual effort, right? The current process involve manually identifying the language, then forwarding it to the respective team. So currently that e-commerce company had different department. One department taking care of the English, the other department taking care of, let's say, Chinese, third department taking care of the Hindi, right? So then there is a lot of manual task. First the input comes, they identify, they send it to the respective department, they do the processing, then they send output back to the customers. So it is a lot of manual effort and it takes time. The third problem is the inefficiency. It might take time to reroute this request, identify, and then to translate, which also increases the response time for the customer. And lastly, scalable. Tomorrow I might be receiving only 1000 requests, but in future if I am receiving, let's say, 10,000 requests, I need to hire more employee and I need to write more professional who are understanding and understand my business. So that's the problem with this global e-commerce company, and this problem we are going to take care with the two activities which we have decided. Okay, so to get you a example, this is one of the email which we have received into our mailbox. It is a customer support ticket, and now we have to just take care of this request using our integration services, right? So let's try to build this use case into integration services and try to see that how we can utilize all our previous knowledge into one use case, right? I would request you guys to please open your UiPath Studio, build it along with me so that at the end we both have the same use cases with ourselves. Okay, let's go to UiPath Studio now. Okay, so now to get started with, I will go to my mailbox, right? And you can see that I have received a customer support email which is in a different language which I don't understand, right? So now assuming that this is the email which we want to utilize for today's use case, and I have a lot of other emails which we have discussed in the previous videos, right? So now what I'm going to do is we'll go to UiPath Studio. First thing first, we'll create a new process and we will just name it as maybe something like customer support detect, and I'll just call it detect and translate, and I'll just create this. Okay, so we'll just wait for the automation to load up. Okay, so the first thing first is we have to read this data from my Outlook. Okay, and now to read the email, I can just go here and I just can use this one. You can utilize any other email depending on your criteria, like you can do it for all the emails, you can get it by the email list, all of that is your implementation. So I'll just go here and use this guy which is the get me the newest email, and now you would notice that the studio is adding dependencies, right? And as we understand that now this is going to add the integration services dependencies, because Office 365 integration is done with the help of integration services, right? In case you are new to integration services, please do refer the integration service playlist that is going to serve as base for all these new stuff, right? And now you can see that I have the integration already loaded for me here. In case you are looking this tutorial for the first time and you do not have this, you simply can go to this setting and you would have something which is called add new connections, right? So you can just go here, add the new connection, provide the authentication for your Outlook or any other account which you want to use, and then you should see that here, right? We have already covered this in the previous videos, so not spending much time here, but just for the new beginners, you can just go here and click on add new connection. That will point you to the integration services. You just have pointed to the respective account and you do not have to share your password, and you can do it in your community or the free version as well. Okay, so now which one we want to read? So we want to read the inbox. Now what is the filter? In the filter you have all these options. You have an option to add an entry, you can change it. All of these things you can still go and customize, right? So for me, let's say I am working for some department and I am receiving email only from this person, right? Who is this? Maybe if you are working on a different department, if you want to do it for every email, that is still fine, right? So for example, I can say that I want to check it only from this guy, right? Here, depending on your use case, you can say that okay, when it is from these list of user, and when it is coming from, let's say, your China counterpart, when it is coming from this folder, all of that you can just do by just clicking on this entry here, and you have all these options, right? Sender, recipient, and all those details, right? So for now I'm just giving only one criteria. I just say save, and that's it, right? What it is going to give me? It is going to give me the latest email. I'll go to the properties, and in here, what is the result? The result is an email. I can just hit tab and it will create the latest email for me. Okay, if you want to read only the unread one, I can just mark it to true, and that way it would only read the items which are unread. So I can just go here and mark it as unread, right? Yeah, it's already, yeah, now it's unread, right? So that way you can actually customize your automations, right? So I'll minimize this, and once that is done, I'll just go here and add a log message activity, and in the log message activity I'll just try to print the content, right? Which is, I think it has created something called latest email. I can just put a dot and I can say, what do you want? You can always get the subject, you can get the body, everything you can get. I'm interested in the body, so it should give me the latest email dot body. I'll do a Ctrl+S, go here and run the file, right? So now if everything works as expected, what should happen? It should go to my Office 365 Outlook account with the help of integration services, get me the data and print it into the output. So first step is done, right? Now the second step is we want to detect what is the language. So to do that, I'll just go here and use something which is called detect language. Drag and drop it here. Again, it is going to add the necessary dependencies. That's the new thing about the UiPath, right? You do not have to remember all the dependencies and all. You can just drag and drop the activities and it adds the remaining stuff for you, right? So if you go back to the project now, you would see that it has added the Office 365 and now it has added the integration services also, right? Now it's asking me, Mukesh, I'm going to utilize this account. Again, the same concept. In case you don't want to use it, you can click here and change it, right? Now it's asking me, what is the text which you want to detect the language? And the text is in the latest email, right? So you can just use latest email dot body, or the other way is you can always use a assign activity. Okay, in that I can just say input. Okay, my bad, input, and in the input I can just store latest email dot body, right? So now all you have to do is just pass this input to here, right? Which also means that in case you have the input coming from a different sources like a notepad, or you can directly hard code the things here, then also it should work, right? Now in the manage properties, you have this one, you have what do you want as an output. These are the arguments. I'll keep it to the default settings. Let's go to the properties, right? And here it says what is the detected language. So I can just go here and I hit Ctrl+K, or I can just go here and I say tab. I can just go here and I say Ctrl+K and I can call it as detected language, and that should give me the detected language for the input, right? And now best practice, I'll just go here and add a log message activity, drag and drop it here. Absolutely easy, right? Just say info, and let's try to print the detected language. By using the variable which we just created, right? Now if I just save this, go back to the thing, yeah, it's still unread, right? Go here and I say run the file. What should happen? Again it should read, print the actual input with the help of detect language. Now it should actually go and give me the detected language. That would help me as a developer to do the next set of steps. You can use it for logging and all the other things, right? So I can go to the output and you can see that it is saying that the detected language is French, right? So our one activity is completed, right? Now after that, the next activity was to translate it to a language which I can understand. So again go to the activities, and this time I just go here and I say translate, drag and drop it here. Again loading the same connections. What is the text? So where is the text? The text is in the input, and then it's asking me specify the language you want to translate. Now the good part is, if you go here and if you select this drop down, you would have all these different language which is available, Hindi, Gujarati and all, right? So let's stick to English. Depending on your use case, you can change it to any other language. And then I go to the output, properties. Into the output, I can just say control plus K. I can create a variable called translated text. It should not be a space. And once you have the translated text, I can just go here and I can use a log message activity, and then I'm just logging the information, working it in a step-by-step manner. Go here and I say run the file, right? So now what happens, it is going to go back to the email, get the language, translate it, and then it is going to give me the text in English. If I go to the output, this was the text, this was French, and now I can see what was the message, right? My name is Jean and I would like to know when my package will arrive. I placed my order on 5th January, all this stuff, right? Now as a customer support executive, now you have the English text with you, and now you want to help it to reply, right? And now to generate the response, actually you can use one of the previous activity which we have utilized. So now you can see that step by step we are now combining all our previous lessons, right? So I'll go to the activities, and there is an activity which is called, let's say, content generation. Here it is, content generation. Drag and drop it here, right? And in the content generation, now I can ask generative AI to actually go and help me to draft a response to that email, right? So it is asking me for the model, so I'll just go and utilize the GPT-4o. What is the prompt, right? So guys, we have already discussed in the first video, so not spending much time here. So in the prompt, I am just going to mention that draft reply to the following email, right? So we are just saying it to draft a reply to the email, and then this says what is the system prompt. So I am saying that you are a helpful customer support agent, right? And now it's all I have to do is just pass the translated text, right? So you can actually pass the complete French text as well, but we want to do it in a step by step so that you guys can create more use cases, right? So now all I have to do is, when I say draft the response to the following email, I just have to pass the translated text here. And what would happen? the output of this activity would be this. I can just say this is the reply email text, right? And then I can just go here and I say log message into that, log the message, and I can just say that whatever you get from the AI to reply, just print it here, right? So I'll save this, go here and say run the file, right? So now you would notice here that I am able to accomplish this use cases into a step-by-step manner without getting more into AI, and everything I can just do with the help of these activities, right? So I go to the output, you can see that this was the actual text, it is French, this is the response, and this is the response generated, right? Thank you for reaching out, I have looked into the order, blah blah blah, whatever it is, it has generated the response for you, right? Now the whole thing which you want to do is you would again like to convert this text to French and reply to the email, right? So again, to convert this response to French, you could do two things. After this response, you can again convert it by using the translated text, using the the translate, whatever you have got, you can translate it, or you can just go to the content generation here and you can say that draft a reply to the following email, which is this, right? And I can just write an additional prompt here saying that, and give me the response in language specified, or maybe I can just say give me in this language, and I can just say here the detected language. So all I am doing here is I am asking the AI to read the email, understand, and then generate the response. You can generate it in English, convert it, or you can give it directly in the content generation and just simply ask it to give you the response in the detected language. So if I go back to the output, and here it is, right? Bonjour Jean Dupont, and it has given all you these things. And now again, by using a simple integration service activity, reply to the email, this one, right? Email to reply, you can just pass here which email you want to reply, right? So you can see here when I actually read the email from here in the properties, you would see that it is going to this one, which is the latest email, right? So I can just go here, I can say that where is the latest email, this is the latest email, and the text you want to reply is the, I think it was the reply email text. So I can go here, use a variable reply email text, right? So in the body I want to paste the reply email text. Save as draft, no. Reply to all, yes. Save this, and now my automation should go and respond to the email in that language, right? So let's go to the output. This is the body, it has detected as French, converted to the English, then generated a response back into French and would have replied to the email, right? So let's go back to the thing, and so this was, I think, the query, and this is the response, which is again in French. And that completes our use case, right? So basically now by just using the integration and the generative AI activities, I was able to accomplish this use case. How cool is that, right? So now a task for you guys is, till this we have seen a lot of activities, right? What are the other use cases you think which you can actually build with this? Just let me know in the comments, right? And if you are able to follow along these tutorials and you are liking this content, You can always post about your learnings and know the wider world of UiPath and the automation that you are able to do such kind of tasks. That is going to help you in your career. Feel free to tag me on the LinkedIn. I would be happy to amplify your post and let me know your feedback on the content, right? So with this, wrapping this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please do subscribe to the channel and see you in the next video of the GenAI activities. Thank you for watching and happy automation.